All right, so this is super weird, very super weird video that I just watched right now. But you guys know who Owen Benjamin is. The dude's a really weird guy, to say the least. He's a quote unquote comedian, although pretty low tier, to be honest. He doesn't really make very, intricate jokes or anything like that. They're pretty very, they're very simplistic and obvious. Now, some of the things he'll say because of their circumstances is funny. Like when he was doing the video, basically condemning the intellectual dark web. I actually laughed at that, not even gonna lie. But anyways, so you guys remember how I did a couple videos on the whole Alex Jones Joe Rogan beef? And a lot of you guys were like, "Oh, how come you haven't made a video about Alex Jones and Joe Rogan making up or whatever?" The reason I didn't make a video on that was because I don't know, it just didn't feel, it wasn't very compelling. And also, Alex Jones, when he went on that podcast, was super obviously trying to, play an act, and that's what he does. Alex Jones is a weird mix between an actor as well as a legitimate lunatic, who's really like gone off the rails. But he's also an actor, and I've seen one of the videos I did recently. I explained to you guys, like, okay, you can obviously tell he's playing up what he's doing. So he comes on there and just says a bunch of insane stuff because people listen, people watch, and people talked about it. And especially now, he needs to do that because he got booted off of YouTube and like every other platform in existence. So he's got to get his name out there and let people know where he is. And then Joe Rogan was also, kind of a cuck for doing what he did because, like, dog, I showed you guys the video where Alex Jones was basically using his stepdaughters like this prop. And you don't bring someone's kids into something like that. And so if Joe Rogan saw that and he still had him on like that and let him on his platform, oh my God, that is the biggest cuck move of all time. You can't just bring him on after he showed your stepdaughter and tried to use her against you and brought your kids into this situation. That is unacceptable, and that's a pretty like bullshit whack move on the part of Joe Rogan. But anyways, so that's the reason why I didn't make any videos on that. But this is something funny and interesting. So Owen Benjamin guest hosted InfoWars while AJ wasn't there, I guess. It's a weird guest hosting mechanism too because he's not in studio, and so they still have like the studio, and they have his face playing through the TVs in the studio, which is like, all right, bro, what is happening here? So basically, that is what's going on, what's going down here. Alex Jones and Joe Rogan have already made up. By the way, they did their 5-hour podcast or whatever. And this is just a couple of days ago that he guest hosted. And Owen Benjamin seems to still have a stick up his ass about Joe Rogan for whatever reason it may be. But here's going to be a video clip of him hosting InfoWars, AJ's show, of course. And he's going to bash Joe Rogan. Check it out.
Anyway, it was it was very heartwarming to see Alex and Joe Rogan work out their differences, but I didn't work out my differences with Joe. I still believe he's a sodomite, and I can prove it. I can prove it today. And as Alex said, yeah, there it is. Look at that picture. Now look at that picture of Joe. For those of you just listening, he has his earring in his left ear, and he's giving the A-OK sign with his mouth open. And the A-OK sign, look at it. And by the way, that's not him at like 18. That's him at like 30. He's like 30 with his shirt unbuttoned, and he's saying, A-OK. Okay, so that A-OK symbol, this, right? Some people think it's like a satanic symbol. It might be. Some people just think it means okay. Some people said it's white. Want to know what it is in the gay community? It means you're open for business. So what he's saying in this picture is there's a part of my body that's open for business, and so is my mouth. And you're like, hey, Big Bear, you're misinterpreting that. He doesn't actually like watching gay guys make out. Really? Check out this tweet from Joe Rogan. Call me romantic, but I love when gay guys on a date are comfortable enough to kiss in public. No, there's another word for that, Joe. It's not romantic. It's called being a sodomite. And it's like, oh, well, Big Bear, that's from 2012. Yeah, he was in his 40s. That's older than I am now. Big Bear, why are you so obsessed with Joe Rogan? Why are you so... Look at Obama right there, open for business. Bill Clinton, open for business. They're all saying, look, that part of me is open. It's open for biz. And look at how Joe's face is. He's saying, listen, everywhere is open for business on me. And so, you know, and the thing is I'm, there's people in my life that I care about that, well, there's not two earrings, including a hoop right there. Joe Rogan, wearing a leather jacket and like one of those wife beater tees. And he's looking at you saying, I will do, you want to have a fear factor? You want to have a fear factor? Let's see who's scared first. I mean, sodomite. And people are like, well, what's wrong with that? A lot. It's actually a sin. It's a sin to want to be inside of another man or have a man inside of you. I mean, some of the unbearables, Twinkle Bear has a boyfriend, but I'm way less freaked out by a guy that's like, listen, I pump. Okay, I don't approve of that lifestyle, but at least you're honest with me. People living in shadows, they're capable of anything. So and on Fear Factor, you try to get people to drink goat semen. That's a true story. Why'd they pick the goat? Gee, I have to really think about that. So in closing, from the bottom of my heart, I'm touched that Alex and Joe made up in their 5-hour session. And I think that's great of Alex to bury the hatchet, turn the other cheek and whatnot. But I think I just proved that Joe is in fact a sodomite. And he's open for business. He'll take it any way he can, and he wants to do a Fear Factor with you, most likely behind a dumpster. So when he says, "Hey, you want a dumpster pump?" Say no, Joe. I'm not open for business. I'll be back in a couple minutes, and we're going to talk about words and what words actually mean and how to not be tricked. Cheers. Joe's a sodomite.
All right, so as you guys just saw, this is super weird because it's like, okay, AJ, the host, founder, and owner of InfoWars, has on a guest host in Owen Benjamin, who just basically proceeds to this. Guys, this is basically the intro of this. He does this in the first, I think there's like 1 minute where it's showing other footage of something else. But after that 1 minute, this is what's playing in the beginning of the show. So this is like the lead-in, which is like, whoa, dude, that's kind of wild. But anyway, so as I explained to you guys, Owen Benjamin, although he can be funny sometimes just due to the circumstances more than really his jokes, his jokes are very low tier, very simplistic. So the joke here is that Joe Rogan is gay. So not a very interesting joke or one that's very moving or anything like that, or very funny. But, just a weird stick up Owen's ass that I don't know why it's there. But look. Let's have a serious conversation about the sign for a second here. So if you watch basketball or know basketball, you know that anytime someone puts that up, that it signals it's mostly for a 3-pointer, but I guess if you drop like a really nice shot, you could do it too. But really, it's mainly for a 3. So when you make a 3-pointer, you put up the 3 because that's 3. Now there are apparently people like Richard Spencer who put it up for white power. Now people need to be careful about and they just showed picture. I don't even know if those pictures are photoshopped. They're probably not, of like Obama and Bill Clinton doing it. But like there are a lot of people, and I think this also happened during some blackface time where there were people in the basketball game stands having the sign up, and they're like, look, and these people have the white power sign up. It's like, all right, bro, you have to be careful because that's not a white power sign. That's a sign for a 3-pointer or a really nice shot being dropped. So you got to be careful about what you attribute the white power to. If Richard Spencer is doing that, yeah, that's obviously a white power sign. But if you see some, random dude just doing that, that doesn't mean that they're putting up a white power sign. And also, if you're at a basketball game and someone's doing that, that's not a white power sign. But anyways, I just wanted to tell you guys that because it's it's a lot to talk about that now. Again, I have to reiterate my question as to why does Owen have such a stick up his ass about Joe Rogan? If Alex Jones and Joe Rogan can make up, what is up with Owen Benjamin? Now, the reason obviously has to be that Owen Benjamin is basically, he's pissed, he's partially jealous, but he's pissed that, I guess Joe Rogan won't have him on his podcast again. I don't know if they're on speaking terms at all. I don't know. But I don't think they are, but they might be. I'm not sure. But, why do you hate him so much? I mean, obviously the reason is because he basically I guess, casted him to the shadow realm essentially. But it's just got to be super weird that after Alex Jones makes up with Joe Rogan in a 5-hour podcast after all that beefing they went through, and then the next step is I'm going to have Owen Benjamin, a very low tier dude who's like drunk on a daily basis, just like drinking his skull out every day, host my show, and I'm going to have him on, and he's just going to crap all over Joe Rogan. Joe's got to feel kind of weird about that. I don't think he's seen it, but, I'm sure if he were to see it, he'd be like, what? Like, what's going on? I'm sure that would be his reaction to that. And then you know what? I probably found the funniest about all this is like, he tries to invoke Christianity, which I thought was the funniest part of all this. He's like, he was trying to essentially steel man his opponents and be like, you're probably going to say, oh, well, what's wrong with being a sodomite? You're going to be like, well, he's like, oh, well, it's a sin. It's like, bro, really? You're the Christian guy, the dude drinking his skull out, saying all kinds of stuff to trigger people or just to be a douche. You're the Christian guy. You're all about Christianity. Just drop the facade, man. Drop the facade, bro. Don't invoke Christianity. You fucking loser. I don't know how else to put that, dude. Really, you're going to bring Christianity. You're going to pretend to be a Christian. You're going to pretend to care about the doctrine of Christianity. I don't even know what, at that point, what is even the appeal of that, considering the state that he's in, where he's just like a big-time troll. But anyways, I thought it was pretty funny. Let me know your thoughts down below.